SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hello students, my name is Ishan Shenolekar and today I will be speaking about an important concept of deadweight loss. Let us start with the objectives of this session. First we try and understand the basic definition of this concept deadweight loss. Then we try to understand this concept by studying a case. Further we look at its importance and finally we try and understand the usefulness for business administration students. Let us start with the definition and concept of deadweight loss. So, deadweight loss or DWL for shorts refers to the loss of economic efficiency that occurs when the equilibrium outcome in a market is not achieved. It represents the reduction in total surplus, that is the sum of consumer and producer surplus, as we have seen in preceding sessions. This results when the quantity of good or service traded is less than or more than the efficient market equilibrium quantity. In an ideal market without any distortions, supply and demand balance at a point where the maximum possible economic welfare or total surplus is achieved. Any deviation from this equilibrium due to factors like taxes, subsidies, price controls or monopolistic practices leads to a deadweight loss, indicating a loss in societal welfare. Total surplus and market efficiency. In a perfectly competitive market, total surplus is the sum of consumer surplus, that is the difference between what consumers are willing to pay versus what they actually pay, and producer surplus, which is nothing but the difference between the price at which producers are willing to sell and the price that they receive, which we have seen again from the preceding sessions. A market is considered efficient when it maximizes total surplus, meaning that the resources are allocated in a way that no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off. This is also known as Pareto efficiency. Let us see how deadweight loss occurs now in such a situation. So, deadweight loss occurs when the market is not in equilibrium, meaning that the quantity of goods or services produced and consumed is either less than or greater than the equilibrium quantity. The most common causes of deadweight loss include taxes and subsidies. So, taxes increase the price buyers pay and decrease the price sellers receive. This leads to a reduction in the quantity traded, as we have seen. Subsidies, on the other hand, artificially lower prices, encouraging overproduction and overconsumption. If we look at price controls, then government imposed priced floors, that is minimum prices, and price ceilings, that is maximum prices, prevent the market from reaching equilibrium, causing either excess supply or excess demand, again something that we have seen in the preceding sessions. Looking at monopoly power, monopolies restrict output to increase prices, which results in lower quantity traded compared to what would occur in a competitive market, leading to deadweight loss. When external costs or benefits are not reflected in market prices, markets can produce too much or too little of a good, leading to inefficiency and deadweight loss. If we look at deadweight loss in context of taxes, then when a tax is imposed, it creates a wedge between the price consumers pay and the price producers receive. This wedge discourages both consumption and production, reducing the quantity traded below the efficient level. So, in a supply and demand graph, the imposition of tax shifts the supply or demand curve depending on who bears the tax burden. The new equilibrium quantity is lower than the original equilibrium quantity. The area between supply and demand curves representing the reduction in total surplus due to the tax is called deadweight loss. Let us now look at the role of elasticity in deadweight loss. So, the magnitude of deadweight loss depends on the elasticity of supply and demand. Elastic demand and supply. If we look at this scenario, then when the demand or supply is elastic, consumer and producers are more responsive to price changes, leading to larger reduction in quantity traded and a larger deadweight loss. If we look at inelastic demand and supply, then the quantity traded changes less responsively as compared to price changes, thus resulting in a smaller deadweight loss. If we look at the importance of understanding deadweight loss, then we can say understanding deadweight loss is crucial for policymakers as it helps them evaluate the efficiency costs of taxes, subsidies and regulations. By minimizing deadweight loss, policies can be designed to achieve economic objectives with the least harm and overall welfare. Deadweight loss serves as a measure of the inefficiency caused by market distortions. A key goal in economics is to identify and reduce deadweight loss to improve overall social welfare or societal welfare as we name it. So, if we conclude this basic introductory analysis, then we can say that deadweight loss is a fundamental concept in economics that highlights the importance of market efficiency. By understanding how and why deadweight loss occurs, economists and policymakers can better assess the impact of various market interventions and strive to create conditions that maximize total surplus, leading to greater overall economic welfare. So, we will now analyze the causes of deadweight loss in detail. So, again, deadweight loss occurs when there is a loss of economic efficiency in a market, meaning that the total surplus, which is nothing but the sum of consumer and producer surplus, is not maximized. This is the basic definition which should be very clear. Deadweight loss is often the result of various market distortions that prevent the market from reaching its equilibrium where supply and demand equal each other. Below are the detailed explanations that we are going to discuss, which are the primary causes of deadweight loss. First is taxes. So, when a government imposes a tax on a good or service, it creates a wedge between the price consumers pay and the price producers receive. This wedge causes the quantity traded to decrease from the market equilibrium quantity, which would be without any intervention such as tax. This leads to a loss of total surplus. The tax burden is shared between consumers and producers depending on the price elasticities of demand and supply. The more inelastic the demand or supply is, the greater the burden on that side of the market falls. So, if we look at the illustration, we can imagine that in a supply and demand graph, the imposition of tax is going to shift either supply curve upward for a tax on producers or the demand curve downwards if it is a tax on consumers, which we have discussed. The result is a new lower equilibrium quantity. The area between supply and demand curves corresponding to the reduced transactions or the wedge that we call that no longer occur due to the tax represent the deadweight loss. Let us look at the second cause, that is subsidies. A subsidy is an opposite of tax. It lowers the cost of producing or purchasing a good, thus encouraging more production or consumption than would occur at market equilibrium. While subsidies aim to benefit certain groups, they can lead to overproduction or overconsumption, thus causing resources to be allocated inefficiently. So, when a subsidy is introduced, the supply or demand curve again shifts, leading to a higher quantity traded than the efficient equilibrium. The cost to the government of the subsidy often exceeds the benefit to consumers or producers, resulting in a deadweight loss. For example, agricultural subsidies that lead to overproduction of crops or subsidies on fossil fuels that encourage excessive use of energy, both resulting in inefficiencies and deadweight loss. If we look at the example of price floors, then a price floor is a minimum price set by the government that is above the market equilibrium price for it to be effective. This is intended to ensure that producers receive a minimum level of income, such as, let's say, wage laws for labor. A price floor prevents the market from clearing, that is a natural equilibrium, thus resulting in excess supply or surplus. Producers are willing to supply more at a higher price, but consumers are unwilling to buy as much, leading to surplus of goods or services that cannot be sold. So, if we look at deadweight loss from price flows, we can imagine the area of unsold goods represents wasted resources, and the total loss or the overall loss in total surplus is depicted as deadweight loss. An example is agricultural price supports that leads to surplus crops that must be stored or destroyed, creating inefficiency. Let us now look at the case of price ceilings. A price ceiling is a maximum price set by the government that is below the market equilibrium price, intended to make goods or services more affordable for consumers. For example, we have rent controls in housing markets, which are a common case. A price ceiling leads to excess demand or shortage in the market. Consumers are willing to buy more at a lower price, but producers are not willing to supply as much, leading to a shortage of goods or services. The shortage creates inefficiency, as some consumers who value the good more than the price are unable to obtain it. This reduction in traded quantity and the unfulfilled demand contribute to the deadweight loss. Now let us move to monopoly power as a cause of deadweight loss. A monopoly exists when a single firm dominates a market and has power to influence the price of good or service. Unlike competitive markets, a monopolist maximizes profits by restricting output to raise the prices. By reducing the quantity supplied, a monopolist creates a higher price than that would exist in a normal equilibrium. This results in less consumption and production. This reduction in quantity leads to a loss of total surplus, as the monopolist's higher profits do not compensate for the losses of the consumers. Let us look at deadweight loss in monopolies. The area between the demand curve and the marginal cost curve for the units that are not produced due to the monopolist's output reduction or restriction represent the deadweight loss. This inefficiency is one of the key arguments against monopolies for promoting competition. Let us look at externalities. Externalities occur when the production or consumption of a good affects third parties who are not directly involved in the market transaction. Externalities can be positive, that is beneficial, or negative, that is harmful. Let us look at negative externalities. These occur when the production or consumption of a good imposes a cost on others, such as pollution from factories. The social cost exceeds the private cost, leading to overproduction and a deadweight loss, as market equilibrium does not reflect the true cost to the society. If we look at positive externalities, then these occurs when the production or consumption of a good provides benefits to others, such as education or vaccination. The social benefit in this case exceeds the private benefit. This leads to underproduction and a deadweight loss, as the market equilibrium does not reflect the true benefit to the society. So now let us look at deadweight loss due to externalities. In both cases, the market fails to allocate resources efficiently, thus resulting in either too much, that is negative externality, or too little, that is because of positive externality of a good being produced, thus leading to deadweight loss. One more crucial aspect that causes deadweight loss is imperfect information. When buyers and sellers do not have perfect information about the quality, price, or availability of goods, markets may fail to operate efficiently. This can lead to suboptimal decisions such as underconsumption or beneficial goods, mainly underconsumption of those beneficial goods or overconsumption of the harmful. Adequate information about the effectiveness of treatments, they may either overuse or underuse healthcare services, leading to inefficiency and deadweight loss. Next is market absence under incomplete markets. Sometimes markets for certain goods or services do not exist due to high transaction costs, legal restrictions or any other barriers. The absence of markets for a potential valuable good or service can lead to inefficiency again. For example, public goods such as national defense or clean air may not be provided by the market because they are non-excludable and non-rivalrous, thus leading to underproduction and deadweight loss. The government often steps in to provide these goods, but the challenge is to do so without creating inefficiencies elsewhere. So, if we conclude this section, then deadweight loss occurs due to variety of market distortions, each leading to a reduction in total surplus that would otherwise be achieved in a perfectly competitive market. Understanding the causes of deadweight loss is crucial for economists and policymakers in designing interventions that minimize inefficiencies and enhance overall societal welfare. Whether through taxation, subsidies, price controls, monopoly power, externalities, imperfect information or incomplete markets, the goal is to strike a balance that maximizes total surplus while addressing other social and economic objectives. Let us look at a case study. So, the case is deadweight loss due to a tax on sugary drinks. Let us have a background and context of this case. So, the governments around the world have been increasingly concerned about raising obesity rates and related health issues such as diabetes and health diseases. One policy response has been to impose taxes on sugary drinks such as sodas to discourage consumption and reduce these health risks. So, the objective here, primary goal of the sugary drinks tax is to reduce the consumption of unhealthy beverages, thereby improving public health. However, like any tax, this policy can lead to economic inefficiencies or deadweight loss. So, let us look at a market without tax. So, if we look at initial market equilibrium, we assume the market for sugary drinks in equilibrium without any tax. At the equilibrium price, the quantity demanded by consumers equals the quantity supplied by producers. The difference between what consumers are willing to pay and what they actually pay is our consumer surplus. The difference between the price producers receive and the minimum they are willing to accept is producer's surplus. The sum of these two is the total surplus for us. This represents the maximum benefit to the society. Now, let us look at introduction of a sugary drinks tax. The government imposes a per unit tax on sugary drinks, raising the price consumers pay and lowering the price producers receive. Now, what is the effect on price and quantities? The price consumers pay increases by the amount of tax, leading to a reduction in the quantity demanded, whereas the price producers receive decreases by the amount of tax, leading to a reduction in the quantity supplied. Now, what about the new equilibrium? The market reaches a new equilibrium where the quantity of sugary drinks traded is lower than before the tax. So, what about deadweight loss analysis? Due to the tax, fewer sugary drinks are consumed and produced. The reduction in quantity traded represents the transactions that no longer occur because of the tax. What about loss of total surplus? So, the tax leads to decrease in both consumer and producer surplus. Consumers pay more and buy less, while producers receive less revenue and produce less. The government collects tax revenue, but this does not fully offset the loss in consumers and producers surplus. Looking at deadweight loss, the deadweight loss is the loss of total surplus that occurs because of the market is not operating at its efficient equilibrium. It is represented by the area of triangle between the supply and demand curves at the reduced quantity. This area indicates that it is the net loss in welfare to society, as the value of the lost transactions exceeds the benefit derived from the tax revenue. So, if we look at a real world example, then the Philadelphia soda tax serves the purpose. So, in 2017, Philadelphia implemented a tax of 1.5 cents per ounce on sugary drinks. The city aimed to reduce consumption of unhealthy beverages while raising revenue to fund education and public health initiative. Now, this is a positive outlook. So, what about impact on consumption? After the tax was implemented, studies showed a significant decrease in sugary drink sales within the city. Many consumers shifted to purchasing these drinks outside the city limits where the tax did not apply. Now, this is not a very beneficial situation. What about effect on business? Retailers and distributors reported a decline in sales, leading to concerns about job losses and reduced profits. Some businesses also passed the tax on to consumers through higher prices. While the city did generate significant revenue from the tax, the reduction in sugary drink consumption meant that the tax did not fully achieve its projected revenue goals. The deadweight loss in this case was reflected in the reduced transactions, that is, fewer sugary drinks sold, and the economic inefficiency that arose as a result of tax. The lost consumer and producer surplus combined with the shift in purchasing behavior, that is, buying drinks outside the city, which in a way incurs more cost, thus reducing consumer surplus, contributed to this inefficiency. If we look at policy implications, then balancing public health and economic efficiency needs to consider the trade-offs between the public health benefits of reduced sugary drink consumption and the economic costs in terms of deadweight loss and potential harm to businesses. To minimize deadweight loss, taxes could be designed to target the most harmful products while providing subsidies for healthier alternatives. Now, this balances the two. Public education campaigns and incentives for higher or healthier food choices could complement the tax, reducing reliance on price mechanisms alone to change behavior. Ongoing evaluation of the tax impact on consumption patterns, public health, and economic efficiency is essential to adjust the policy as needed. So, let us look at the conclusion of this case. The case study of the sugary drinks tax illustrates how government intervention, while well intentioned, can lead to deadweight loss if it distorts market equilibrium. By analyzing the effects of the tax on prices, quantities, and total surplus, we gain insight into economic costs of such policies. Balancing these costs with the intended public health benefits is a critical challenge for policymakers. Importance of understanding deadweight loss in detail. So, understanding deadweight loss is crucial for various stakeholders, including economists, policymakers, businesses, and general public, as it provides insight into inefficiencies that can arise in markets and the consequences of certain economic decisions. Let us see why it is important to understand deadweight loss. So, first is economic efficiency. Deadweight loss represents a loss of economic efficiency, where resources are not allocated in the most effective manner. By understanding deadweight loss, stakeholders can identify situations where resources could be better utilized to maximize total surplus, that is the sum of consumer and producer surplus. Understanding deadweight loss helps in analyzing whether a market is functioning efficiently or if there are distortions that need to be corrected. It aids in understanding how far an actual market outcome deviates from the ideal market equilibrium. Policymakers need to consider deadweight loss when designing taxes, subsidies, price controls, and regulations. An understanding of deadweight loss helps in creating policies that achieve desired social outcomes like reducing inequality or improving public health with minimal economic inefficiency. Understanding deadweight loss allows policymakers to perform cost-benefit analysis of proposed policies. By quantifying the deadweight loss, They can weigh it against the benefits of a policy, leading to more informed decisions and better serve to the public interest. In taxation, for example, the goal is often to raise revenue with the least harm to economic welfare. Understanding how different taxes impact deadweight loss can guide decisions on which type of taxes to implement, for example, consumption tax versus income tax and so on, to minimize the economic costs. Pricing and output decisions are also affected, or they can also be understood. Businesses, especially those with market power like monopolies, need to understand how their pricing and output decisions can lead to deadweight loss. For example, a monopolist that sets a price too high reduces overall welfare, which can have negative long-term effects on consumer satisfaction and demand. Businesses also need to understand deadweight loss to anticipate and adapt to government regulations aimed at reducing inefficiencies. For example, understanding how a tax on emissions might affect production can help a business to adjust its operations to minimize both economic and environmental costs. Educating the public about deadweight loss helps people understand the trade-offs involved in economic policy and market behaviors. For example, understanding why certain goods are taxed more heavily, such as tobacco, can help people appreciate the broader societal goal beyond just the price they pay. Understanding deadweight loss also ties into discussions about equity and fairness in the economy. Policymakers must consider who bears the burden of economic inefficiencies, such as whether a tax disproportionately affects lower income individuals, and work to design policies that are both efficient and equitable. If we look at correcting market failures, then deadweight loss is often a signal of market failure, where markets do not allocate resource efficiently on their own. Understanding deadweight loss helps in identifying when and where markets fail, such as in the presence of monopolies, externalities, or public goods. By understanding deadweight loss, it becomes clear when government intervention is necessary to correct market failures. For example, in case of negative externalities such as pollution, understanding the associated deadweight loss justifies the need for corrective measures such as taxes or regulations. If we look at international trade and global markets, in international trade, tariffs, quotas, and other trade barriers also can create a deadweight loss by reducing the overall volume of trade. Understanding these impacts help in designing trade policies that maximize global welfare while still protecting the domestic interests. As global markets become more integrated, understanding deadweight loss is an essential part for coordinating policies across countries to reduce inefficiencies and spillover national borders effects, such as those related to climate change or financial regulations. If we look at educational purposes, then teaching about deadweight loss is fundamental in economics education, as it helps students understand core principles of market efficiency and the impact of different economic policies. As I said, it is not just unidirectional or from one angle, there are many things. Understanding deadweight loss also fosters critical thinking, enabling individuals to analyze and critique economic policies, business strategies, and market outcomes with deeper comprehension for overall welfare. So, if we conclude this, we can say that understanding deadweight loss is essential for ensuring that markets and policies operate as efficiently as possible, minimizing unnecessary economic costs. It provides a framework for evaluating trade-offs involved in economic decision making and helps guide strategies to maximize social benefits while reducing the costs associated with inefficiencies. Whether for policymakers, businesses, or individuals, recognizing and addressing deadweight loss is key to fostering prosperous and equitable economic environment. Now let us see very quickly how studying this concept of deadweight loss can be particularly important for the students of business administration. So, first is understanding market dynamics. Deadweight loss is a fundamental concept in economics that helps students understand how markets work, as we have already seen. how various factors such as tax, subsidies, monopolies can affect market efficiency. So, for business students, grasping this concept is essential as it forms the basis for more advanced topics in business and economics. Students will often be involved in decision making processes in their careers, particularly business students. Understanding deadweight loss helps them recognize the potential influences or inefficiencies in markets and make more informed decisions that contribute to better business outcomes. For students interested in marketing or pricing strategies, understanding deadweight loss helps in developing pricing models that maximize profits without causing significant inefficiencies. For example, knowledge of how price ceilings or floors impact outcomes can guide strategic pricing decisions. In industries where market distortions are pretty common, such as those with heavy regulation on monopolistic competition, understanding deadweight loss can give businesses a competitive edge by helping them navigate through distortions more effectively. Students often move into roles where they must understand and respond to government policies and regulations. Knowing how taxes and subsidies affect the business and create deadweight loss can really help them anticipate the effect of such policies on their business operations. If we consider CSR, that is corporate social responsibilities, then in such roles related to CSR, understanding deadweight loss can aid in designing incentives that align with both business goals and social welfare, avoiding strategies that might lead to inefficiencies or unintended negative consequences. If we consider financial analysis, then for students interested in finance, understanding deadweight loss can be crucial in evaluating investment opportunities. They can assess how different market interventions might affect the profitability and sustainability of investments. So, overall we can see that the concept of deadweight loss is very important not just in economics but can be utilized by students of business administration in order to make informed decision making as well. So, since the base of all this decision making for business students is economics, using such a concept or understanding such a concept of deadweight loss makes it very easy or makes it very beneficial for the students of business administration, not just in the short term but in their long term career. I hope you understood the session. Thank you so much.